I'd like to show you an interesting utility that I find very useful, and I'm going to use it to analyze an obvious attempt at phishing. Now, I received this a week or so ago. It's from the billing department at kctcs.edu. And in matter of fact, you may have gotten, as a student, you may have gotten the same email. So, if you read over this, it is an attempt to get you to provide them with whoever sent this email, your user ID, your password, your date of birth, etc. If you read this, you'll find that a place or two here is obviously there are obvious grammatical errors, spelling errors. For example, right here, to enable your records remain, that should be to enable your records to remain in our database. We advise, not advice, you to provide. So there are, obvious grammatical, spelling mistakes, grammatical and spelling mistakes, etc. here. And that's one of your big indications that there's something going on. Let me show you the kind of the backstory on this, which is kind of interesting. I'm going to go back to the listing here. Now, I want to show you something you can do in Microsoft Outlook. I don't know if other mail clients will let you do this, but I'm going down to options. Notice down here at the bottom it says Internet Headers. I'm going to click on this and then select all. Now I want to copy this. Now, you'll get a better view of this here in a moment. If I can go and close this now. I'm going to open up an application called Sam Spade. And if you look around a little bit, you can actually find this probably still on the internet. When you install it, it makes a start menu folder called Blighty Design. And Sam Spade 1.14 is the application version. You get tips when you start. I'll go full screen with this. Now, Sam Spade incorporates several very interesting tools. The one I want to use today, you find under Tools. You go down to Parse Email Headers. And remember, I cut the internet headers from the obvious phishing email a while ago. So I'm going to paste it in here. Now, the way email is moved around on the internet is by mail servers, and it's typically SMTP. So here's a reference to this particular machine was using the Microsoft SMTP service. There's another one here that uses ESMTP. So it's not unusual for an email to be sent through 2 or 3 or 4 different mail servers on its way to you. And this is what we're looking for, or looking at here, these headers. And if I click on Parse here, Sam Spade is going to break this down for me a little better. It's going to look up some, actually this is pretty much the same thing it's showing you back there, it's just a little bit easier to read. So let's use Sam Spade. to kind of break this down a little bit. So starting at the top, these are the most recent mail servers it's gone through. The KCTCS FE7 messaging, etc., etc., etc. I'm pretty sure I know where this one's at. This is internal to KCTCS, as is this one. I can tell by the IP number. So the first external one is 218.248.25.28. Now I just clicked on this, left mouse click, and Sam Spade put the number up here at the top. Now note here that we're selecting Magic. I'm going to go down here to the side and click on Who Is. Now Who Is a function or a utility that will do some basic lookups for you and try to discover who owns a particular IP number. So for the IP number 218.248.25.28, we find that the Internet Name or Numbers Registry registrar that's responsible for this number is the Asia Pacific Network Information Center, or APNIC. And if you look on down through here, you get some information for APNIC. It says you can get some more details here by searching who is at apnic.net. So let's go up here and do this. If you click up here at the where we had Magic selected before and scroll down a little bit, you can find APNIC. And I'll probably just look right over it. There it is. These are all Internet registrars. The IP version 4 namespace or number space is broken up into ranges, and various registrars are responsible for various blocks. I'll show you something about that here in a few minutes. So let's go check the Who Is server at APNIC and see if we can get some more information about this IP number. Okay, so APNIC gives us more detailed information here. This is from the Anna University. This IP number is a server, obviously a server owned by Anna University. If you scroll on down here, you'll finally find Chennai, India. It doesn't really say here any place, I don't think. But if you look at the country code here, prefix or suffix, you discover that this particular server was actually in India. So the server that passed the message to KCTCS was actually in India. Let's go a little bit further back here. The next IP number we encountered is just the local host, so I think this is probably an internal thing at the Anna University. Here's the next IP number. So I'll click on it, and it goes up here into the box. And you can actually enter numbers directly in here too. By the way, you don't have to go through the email parsing header process. I'm going to go back up and go back to Magic for this, and I'm going to click Who Is again. This time the address comes back as being allocated to RIPE, which is the European name registrar. for IP registrar. Let's switch our whois server here to the right whois server and run whois again. And this time we discover that the IP number 81.199.63.46 has been delegated to the Gilat Satcom company, I assume. Actually, this one is in Israel. Interesting. The way these whois registries work, typically there's a responsible person here. If you look through this a little closer, and sometimes there's an abuse mailbox here, so we could actually email this address and report a phishing email that has originated from within an IP range that they are responsible for. Sometimes it helps, and sometimes it falls on deaf ears. It kind of depends on the country. You might have a little success in Israel, possibly. So what have we got so far? It came to KCTCS from a mail server at an Indian university. It got to there from someplace in Israel. Now notice here it says proxying for 192.168.5.40. Now we can look this up too, and it's an interesting little thing here you're going to discover. So we'll click on whois again. So this one, the registrar associated with this is actually the Internet Assigned Numbers Authority. This is the highest level registrar authority, or numbers authority. Notice what it says here, and some of you may have noticed this already. This block is reserved for special purposes. Please see RFC 1918. This is a private IP address range. If you recall from your networking, the entire 10.0.0.0 network has been marked as private. The address range 172.16.00 through 172.31, 255 has been marked as private, as has the entire 192.168.0.0 network. So what's happened here is a private IP address has sourced, let me do a little house cleaning here, has sourced this address, or this email rather, and sent it to this address, which has in turn sent it on back to the mail server at the Indian University, which in turn has sent it on to KCTCS. Go back down here to the Israeli IP address. There is no good reason for the 81.199.63.46 machine to accept any traffic from 192.168.5.40. At least that I can think of. I guess it might be theoretically possible in certain configurations. Anyway, my point is, typically you want to configure your servers not to accept private emails from private addresses, private IP range addresses. In the first place, this would assume that this was out on the internet to get to this 81.199.63.46 machine. A 192.168 something something address should never be out on the public internet. So that's a problem right there. The fact that both of these intervening mail servers just kind of blindly forwarded the machine, the email, is, in a lot of cases, that's the way mail servers work. It is a little bit troubling that we went through two. Typically, what would happen on an email, if I'm going to send an email, my email client will contact its configured SMTP server, Simple Mail Transfer Protocol server, and then that server would deal directly with the recipient's mail server, and then the recipient would connect to that server with their client. The fact that we've got a couple of jumps in the middle here means that these are set up to relay. Particularly this one. If I was recreating what happens here, my first thought is, okay, why was the mail sent from the 81.199 network to the 218.248 machine? Why didn't it go directly to the KCTCS mail servers? So there's a lot of things here that are just real fishy. We've got a private IP address. We've got mail servers in two foreign countries, Israel and India, relaying this message. And I really can't think of any reason why we would be getting emails from India or Israel. Of course, nowadays you have to be kind of careful. We are outsourcing so much to India that I guess it would be conceivable that in certain cases you might receive an email from India, but still it should come directly to your mail server. And at any rate, if you go back to the original email, and I will, no legitimate request for your user ID or password is ever going to come over email. And there's really no reason that you would ever be asked for your user ID and your password, really, email or not. So whenever you see some request that's requesting this type of information, you should be very, 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 very suspicious. And if possible, you being security students can actually go back and track what really went on. And you don't have to use Sam Spade. You can actually, once you get access to the headers, you can actually use any Whois application to track these IP numbers. Let's see, if you really want a copy of Sam Spade 1.14, it's a little bit hard to find anymore. You can do a Google search on this. I'll do Sam Spade Sam, same thing. Notice it's the first thing that comes up. Now, there is an online site here that will let you do a number of things. Used to, at this level, there was another set of menus. Let's see if we can add 1.14 to this. And, oops, need to spell it right. So if you look around here, you might be able to find it. If you can't, Major Geeks have it. And Internet Explorer security is blocked us. Good. So you can do a search on Sam Spade 1.14 and actually find it. Major Geeks has it. I've already got it, so I'm going to cancel this. I'd recommend you go get this. Sam Spade's pretty handy. It does some other things too, but it's worth it just for the ability to parse email headers and track where messages really came from. Let's do another search on IP version 4 ranges, maybe. I know where I want to go. It's hard for me to figure out exactly where to go when I get here. You want to go to IANA. That's interesting. And we get the default Apache page. Let's do another search here. Let's just do IP version 4. Here you go. This is what we really want. The address space. IANA must be down today. That's a little troubling. Try this on another day. Search on IP version 4, and then it's about the fourth one down. The IP, the Internet Protocol version 4 address space. This has a list of the various ranges and who they have been allocated to. I don't know. What other place we could find this? I was trying to think of something else to search on. But that's where we wanted to go, where I wanted to take you, was this guy right here. But it looks like IANA, it's hard to say, IANA is having web server problems today. Because nothing seems to be coming up there. And that's not a good thing. What you should find when you get here is a list of the IP ranges and who's responsible for them. Like a while ago we looked at AppNIC was a regional internet registry. I couldn't remember the name a while ago. This is Asia Pacific. Probably some interesting things here. RIPE was another one. This is, I think it's a French name. Can't remember what it stands for. This is like Europe, and it goes at least to Israel. And actually you can go to either AppNIC or RIPE and actually search their database directly if you want to enter an IP number directly into here. So the important thing I wanted to show you today was I wanted to break down an example of phishing. and we'll show you what happened behind the scenes using Sam Spade to parse the internet mail headers, and then use Whois servers to track the IP numbers of the mail servers that have been added to the headers as they travel around the internet. So there's more than enough things about this particular email to justify calling it a phishing expedition. We have grammatical errors, we have spelling errors, we have mail servers from foreign countries involved. We have a private IP range, which is a little unusual. So this particular email is just ripe with the suspicion that it's just phishing. So be careful with these.